Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I briefly summarize my thoughts and feelings regarding the Dawn of the Hunt and the new character class, the Huntress. I would also like to show you where I currently am and which build I am using at the moment. Now I will express my own personal opinion about the game, detailing exactly what the 0.2 patch brought us. From now on, I will simply refer to it as the new league. Just as we accepted, GGG released the patch notes before the launch so that everyone was able to read it. It wasn't an easy read, considering that it was about 15 pages of content and summarized changes. As I read online, there are a lot of people who really liked it, while others criticize it since almost all the broken builds are gone, meaning players have to come up with new character building strategies. Overall, I can say the majority are angry because of how much the game has changed. In the previous league, both the campaign and the endgame were quite enjoyable, although the endgame started to feel boring quite quickly. Don't get me wrong, I liked it very much, but still, the endgame content was not much and was not finished. I have to mention that I personally really liked the vibe of Act 1 and Act 2 during the campaign. But after I tried 4 different character classes, the whole campaign was way too long. Now, based on the patch notes, the new league brings a lot of changes, which I will soon experience firsthand. Regarding the nerfing of the top builds, I'm sure people will quickly figure out how to become godlike again by using new support gems and skills. The game itself feels like it's progressing toward a more complete and finalized version, but of course I know there's still a long way to go before the official full release. Boss fights will definitely raise your heart rate and blood pressure because you won't be able to take them down in just 3 seconds anymore. Now it's the time to learn how to properly dodge attacks. On one hand, this is good since players really have to fight, but I also feel, and I know I'm not alone in this, that some mini-bosses have become insanely strong, making at least one death almost guaranteed. I'm thinking of the Viper Queen at the end of Act 3 for example. Additionally, rare monsters have had their health and damage significantly increased, often making encounters much more difficult. As for resources, I've noticed that it seems like more crafting items and rooms drop in the game, which is really useful if you want to upgrade your gear. I would also add that it feels like rare items are more frequent as well. Here's a little update. While I was preparing the video, GGG announced a new patch. After reading through the patch notes, it turns out there are several campaign-related updates. They removed the dead end in the Drowned City. Udzal also struggled with the similar issues. Apex of Filth and Agorats now have a more linear flow, making navigation faster, added extra soul cores to the Machinarium and Sanctum, and so on. Additionally, some build changes happened in almost every class, and there are also some endgame changes as well. The Huntress. Now let's talk about the new character itself. I started with the Huntress character just like many others, and from the very beginning it proved to be challenging. I constantly felt that neither my defense nor my DPS were sufficient. My initial plan was to avoid using the trade side at least until I reached Cruel difficulty, but I had to change that IT pretty quickly. Before the patch was released, I had already done some theory crafting on maxroll to determine the general direction I wanted to go. I knew that the Ritualist would be my ascendancy because of the 3 rings and because I wanted to build a bleeding based character. Things were going quite well and I didn't feel weak at all until the Act 2 boss. There everything turned out to be insufficient. My defense, my damage and so on. I intentionally avoided checking other players' builds, relying only on my own IDs. At that point, I decided to start using the trade side and spent all the 3 exalted orbs I had collected on something better. After that, I finally managed to defeat the boss and move forward. However, I still felt that the character was a bit weak, so I switched from a blood build to a lightning cold build instead. A lot of experimentation and research went into my current build, but it seems to be progressing well. One major problem, however, was that I couldn't find enough support gems, but that issue seems to be resolving over time. The character is quite effective for clearing maps, but boss fights are still proving to be a challenge. The newest patch that I already mentioned brought some Huntress related changes, but these changes don't really affect my current build since I already switched from a blood build to a more user-friendly setup. So here's what my build looks like now. As you can see, I'm currently using Lightning Spear, Storm Lance, Thunderous Leap, Explosive Spear, Barrage, Wind Dancer, Combat Frenzy, and both Herald skills. I'm able to use so many spirit consuming skills because I currently have 127 spirit points, most of which came from my amulet and body armor. Here are the skills and support gems. For the Lightning Spear I use Ricochet, which gives a 40% chance for lightning to bounce an additional time. Volt support gem, arguably the most important one, it grants 30 voltaic charge after traveling 10 meters. For every 10 voltaic charge an extra branch occurs, totaling 3, plus I get 3 times 5% increased lightning damage. Ice Bite to also deal freeze damage. The 3 Dragons unique helmet contributes significantly to this, allowing for constant freezing. Allegedly, all 3 Herald skills, or at least 2, can be used alongside this helmet. Storm Lance. Acceleration will be moved into Lightning Spear to grant 40% additional projectile speed, although this may change. Concentrated effect gem, which could also be used in Thunderous Leap. Thunderous Leap. I'm using this skill for now, but it will be replaced later. Like Explosive Spear, it's also a detonator skill. Martial Tempo to speed up attacks, Stomping Ground to generate shockwaves. Explosive Spear. This is my main DPS skill. As you can see, Lightning Spear alone doesn't deal as much damage as this. Overabundance, which allows 1 additional spear to explode. Expedite gem, which makes the detonation occur 40% faster. If I find enough support gems, I will also add Reach support gem, which slightly reduces accuracy within a 2-meter range but grants increased area effect instead. Barrage skill. This is a crucial element and a great skill enhanced attacks repeat 2 additional times, and even more based on frenzy charges. While the repetitions deal 50% reduced damage, their overall impact is still significant. Premeditation and 2-fold support gems will be used here. Wind Dancer. Well known from the first league, each stage increases evasion rating by 10%. If hit by an enemy, it consumes the stages and grants Gale Force. Plan support gems for this: Maim, Blind and Culling Strike. And here's Combat Frenzy to generate charges that all of my abilities can use. Finally, the 2 Herald skills with their respective gems. These worked very well together in the previous league, my gemling really liked this combo. Let's see how it performs now. As I mentioned, after a short walk, Volt charges up almost instantly and the first spear distributes lightning right away. The freeze effect builds up almost instantly as well. Now let's check a mini-boss.
Invader! Feed! Estelle! Rotten! Swell! Stormspike! Fight its hunger! Estelle!
And it's dead. Okay, let's check the passives. As I mentioned, the Ritualist is my Ascendancy choice. I've managed to collect 2 sets of Ascendancy points. Now I have 20% physical damage. I previously used Blood Boil, but now I'm progressing down this branch. There will be a 25% bonus for rings and amulets. And I opted for +1 ring slot and 30% reused mana cost, which seemed the most reasonable choice. On the attack damage path, I picked up 1-2 strength nodes, followed by dexterity, further attack damage and elemental damage on attacks, dexterity and critical damage bonus. I currently have a decent emerald, which grants increased spear damage. I also progressed towards acquiring all attack speed nodes and dexterity related bonuses. Here's a little build update. I've reached Cruel X3, close to the end of the campaign, so here's a quick update on my current build. The 3 Dragons helmet works very well with Herald of Ice and Herald of Ash, but without this helmet, Herald of Thunder and Herald of Ash function better together. I switched back to using this helmet, but my gear hasn't been updated for a while, especially my rings and amulet. Since Herald of Ice wasn't working properly, I fully transitioned into a lightning build and realized that Ash pairs excellently with Thunder. One more thing on my mind, I plan to use normal spear throw additionally, as it deals high damage and has no mana cost. These are the skills. I'm still using lightning spear, but the support gems have been adjusted. Currently I'm using Vault, Innervate, Primal Armament and Fork, the most crucial ones being Fork and Vault. Stormlance, the build is still unfinished and additional gem sockets will be added. Concentrated effects, Lightning Infusion and Martial Tempo. Explosive Spear, still utilizing Overabundance, Expedite and Reach. The Barrage skill has now received Premeditation, Twofold and Ingenuity, which helps reduce cooldown time. Wind Dancer, I'm currently using Embitter, although I will likely remove it since it converts extra damage into cold damage, making it more useful for cold builds. Herald of Ash now utilizes Magnified effect, as I had to place Neuro Overload and Deadly Herald into Herald of Thunder instead. Combat Frenzy, still running Profusion, now combined with Precision Gem. Sniper's Mark now uses Persistence. Here is a little test. Normal Spear Throw seems worked well alongside with the Herald skills. Interesting. Let's check the passive tree adjustments. Several changes have been made here as well. No new Ascendancy has been obtained yet, but the starting path remains unchanged. I have removed some nodes and swapped critical damage bonus for critical hit chance instead, removed another node since elemental damage is already sufficient, took away 2 accuracy rating nodes, though they may be re-added later. Planning to invest in skill speed and movement speed, and Herald support nodes have been activated. Critical hit nodes have been selected. Attack speed and dexterity nodes remain untouched. Added a new jewel, which grants 20% increased Herald skill damage, which is significant. Progressed further toward lightning damage nodes and lightning resistance penetration. Okay, let's see a little gameplay. Okay, I managed to reach the endgame. This is currently a tier 1 map. Wow, the Heralds works very well, dealing a decent amount of damage. Thank you very much for watching this video. Soon I will come back with a new one and with some build updates as well. See you in the next one. Take care.